welcome back to another tutorial. This time around we'll be looking at a more intermediate cut and extrude feature. Also, just note where my origin is kept throughout the sketch. This is very important as sometimes they want you to start at a certain origin and extrude from that point. Also, this feature, as you can see on the screen, this is what we're going to be drawing today. There's a lot of cutout and circle features in here. So let's start off by sketching it. Okay, so basically here's our three planes. So like I've said, we're going to start from a certain origin. Obviously the origin sits here in the middle. It sits there to be exact. If you just click on it, it sits there in the middle. So when we start the sketch, we want to make the origin sit there exactly in that middle of the sketch. And then extrude backwards from there. Okay, so let's start off. Let's say sketch. Obviously the first section is a circle. And the dimensions was the inner circle is 36 diameter and the outer circle's diameter 75 millimeters. Okay, and it's extruded back by 50 millimeters. So let's just go back to our drawing. You want to create a circle on the right plane because it's the right plane feature which we've just shown, which is being extruded back from the origin. So let's start off from the right plane. From the center. Dimension for this was 75 diameter, and then features, it's being extruded backwards by 50. Let's just flip the direction so it goes back, because remember now origin sits there in the middle. So let's say it goes back by 50 according to the sketch, and we just say yes. Okay, now that's our first section. The second section, which is here at the back, this back section block here, what I usually like doing is you can either just draw a big block and then do all those little cutouts, or you can draw this U shape and then just do the side cutouts. So let's do the U shape today. So basically it starts off exactly on that 50 millimeter mark, which has been extruded back, and it's 100 by 125 the distance. So let's just go to our sketch. Now obviously we want to sketch on our top plane. So let's say there, normal to, just zoom out a bit, go to sketch, just normal corner rectangular, because otherwise there's no center point we can use here. So let's just draw it and see how close you can snap it or get to the back of the circle. Okay. Okay, let's try again. So it's basically gonna be from there to there. You can see it's very small. Just make it 0 to make sure it's snapped onto that back of the circle, and it also defines this now, turns it into black, which means it's defined this side. Okay, so now what we can do, we set the distance, it's 125, the length, and then the thickness was 100. But before we enter that value, let's just add that U shape which we want somewhere there, somewhere there, somewhere there. Okay, and now I'm going to show you today how to trim entities. It's also very easy. So what you can do is you can just go here by your toolbox, somewhere it says here trim entities. Okay, so as you say trim entities, it's going to give you a couple of options. Just choose the one that says trim to closest. It means it trims to whatever is the closest point or other line. So as soon as you trim there, cuts out that and gives you the U shape which you want. Okay, so now let's add some more dimensions. So basically this distance to that distance was 25. Okay, let's just say 25. That one was 25 as well. This one over here is also 25. Okay, so now that's sorted. Then also just add this dimension here in the middle. Remember now I said it's 25 plus 25 plus 50 to give you 100. And then also just add a dimension to say where it starts off. Now this is a very important section. So before we add this dimension, let's just delete it. So let's just go here. So it's 25, and this section here is also 25 by 25. Now as you can see, that section there, before the circle starts, from that circle or edge to the outer square edge is 12.5 each side. So 12.5 times 2 plus 75 should give you 100. Just to give an idea. Just go back to our sketch. Let's just add that last dimension. So I said 12.5. So you can also just double check this side to see if you've been doing your values right. So basically 12.5 as well. Okay, so that means you're on the right track. Now to start off with the extrusion again. As you can see, all the lines are dark, so it means it's defined. So you just go extrude at both base. You just rotate it to see where it's extruding towards. So you can see it's only extruding towards one side. So just go mid plane. So make sure it's in the middle and just say 100, because it's 100 in height. So let's just say yes. If you go back to the sketch, you can see the height is 100 here on this side. So back to our drawing. Now the other things we need to include is a bunch of circles and cutouts. So the first thing you can actually do is we can set a radius here on this side by making, either you can make like a physical cutout, you can use a 3-point tangent arc, and then just make sure you connect all the dots to make sure it's a nice cutout. For me, the easiest way is just to create a fillet with the radius of the actual sketch. So I want to do that edge, bottom edge, and that bottom edge. And then the radius of each one is going to be 50. Can you see that it creates a nice smooth circle for us? So as soon as we say yes, it does give us that radius, although it does give us this extra line here, where if you created the 3-point tangent with these, this 3-point arc, you would have maybe not gotten these lines here at the end. These lines you still would have gotten on top. So basically I used just the fillet radius to create those arcs. So it was a radius of 50. Now for your cut or circle cutout, that small little feature there, it's also a diameter 50, and it goes through both sides. Let's just go back to our sketch. You can click on the sketch, you can say normal to make it easier for you. I'm just going to use a center circle to make sure it snaps onto this middle plane. Add some features. I think it was 50 according to me. And then it asks for value, because it's not fully defined where will the circle start, from that corner to that edge or from that side to that center point. So I already know the value, it's 75. We can double check that now, and you just go extruded cut feature. Okay, as soon as you rotate it, you can just say through all, because it goes through both sides. You can just say yes. So there's your circles at the back. So let's just make sure of that distance where the circle is cut. Can you see it's from that edge to the center? It's 75 millimeters. Now the last section, there's a smaller cutout here in the middle as well, which is 36 diameter, and that also means it only goes about 50 back. We can actually show that if we show here in detail. Sometimes it picks it up, sometimes it doesn't. So it also only goes back 50, doesn't go through all, otherwise you would have seen a hole at the back as well. So let's just make this component. So at the front, normal to, want to sketch another circle, and then we want to dimension that circle. It was 36 the diameter, and then the features, extruded cut. it went back for 50 millimeters. Okay, so it went back for 50. It stops exactly on this face, so it doesn't go further than that back. So basically there's your component which you've just created. As you can see, it's a bit more intermediate level than the previous one I've shown you. This is also only using cut and extrude features. Trim entities you'll definitely use in a cut and extrude feature. Like I said, this is not the only way to do it. I'm just doing it this way because it's easier for me this way. There's a thousand other ways you can maybe do it. Like I've said, you can create a block and then just do like a cutout. And instead of making the U, you could have used a cutout circle sketch there as well instead of doing the fillet radius. So there's a lot of things you could have done differently. But as you can see, just to give an idea, there's our origin, that little blue line or blue point there, and then from that all the way back I've extruded a sketch. So if they, for instance, give you a test origin to start off, basically that's how I did it, and that's how you should go around with it. So just to give an idea, there's what it looks like. So basically we are finished with our drawing. Thank you for watching this video. If it was helpful, leave a comment or like. You can also subscribe to the channel as more videos and tutorials will follow in the near future.